Kiki is definitely a very memorable and beloved character. After helping the Bronze Saints several times during the classic saga, Kiki simply disappeared. However, the beginning of the Heaven Saga marks the return of this character, who will now reveal himself as the new armor restorer and the Aries Saint of the Sanctuary. Hello, Saints and Amazons! Welcome to the Sempre Quis Saber channel. I'm Wes, and today we're going to unravel the great mystery behind Kiki's disappearance in the classic saga, which will lead to his incredible return in the Heaven Saga. Are you curious? So go ahead and click like, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. Kiki is not an ordinary human. He belongs to the ancient race of Lemurians, also known as the people of the continent of Mu. This race is easily identifiable by the 2 dots on their foreheads and by being born with incredibly high psychokinetic abilities. The Lemurians are the great alchemists of Athena's army. Since mythological times, they have been the only ones with the sacred knowledge to forge and restore the saints' armors, using extremely rare materials like orichalcum, germanium, and orichalcum or gaman. In the classic saga, Kiki is introduced as a young and mischievous apprentice of Mu, but don't be fooled by his childish appearance and playful behavior. From a very young age, he played an extremely important role, helping the Bronze Saints at crucial moments when hope seemed lost. He brings the Pegasus armor to Seiya during the battle against the Black Knights, and in the Poseidon Saga, it was little Kiki who was carrying the extremely heavy Libra gold armor, running from pillar to pillar in the undersea temple. He was brutally beaten by Isaac of Kraken, but he refused to let go of the armor, proving that his loyalty to Athena was unshakable. Later, in the terrifying Hades saga, while the world was collapsing under the Great Eclipse, Kiki was on the front lines, protecting Seiya's newly found sister, Saga, from the deadly energy attack sent directly by Thanatos, the god of death, attacking straight from the Elysian fields. Even though he was very young, Kiki's telekinesis power, combined with his developing Cosmo and his courage, already placed him far above ordinary soldiers or warriors. And after his master Mu sacrificed himself at the Wall of Lamentation, the position of Aries Gold Saint and Armor Restorer was left vacant. This could be a clue to Kiki's meteoric rise in the Heaven Saga, but to understand how Kiki could take his master's place, let's review other moments where he used the sacred Aries armor in other official works. In the Saint Seiya Omega Saga, which takes place years in the future, Kiki finally reaches adulthood and is officially recognized as the Gold Saint of Aries. His demeanor changes completely. He becomes a calm, wise man with overwhelming power, reflecting exactly the aura that his master Mu had. During the war against the god Mars and later against the goddess Pallas, Kiki takes on not only the role of protector of the first Zodiac house, but also that of master armor smith. There is a truly epic moment in the 2nd season of Omega, during the invasion of Pallas Belda, where Kiki faces the second-class Pallasite, Dione of the Plasma Serpent. Dione had the annoying ability to break armors with his weapon, and thought he had the advantage, but Kiki lets Dione attack and then reveals that he can't even scratch his gold armor in the fight. Kiki uses just his finger to disintegrate Dione's chronotector, which is the armor of the Pallasites. This is the ultimate proof that Kiki has mastered the combat arts of Jamiel perfectly. And in the acclaimed work Saint Seiya, Episode Assassin, the manga that deals with multiverses, time travel, and alternate realities where former heroes reappear, Kiki also becomes the future Aries Saint. He acts as a pillar of stability in a chaotic world, showing epic mastery of the crystal wall capable of withstanding divine-level impacts. At a certain moment, Kiki uses the crystal wall around the entire planet Earth to stop the attack of the Chaos Gold Saints who are trying to invade that dimension. He counts on the help of Shuna Virgo, who uses a circular defense in the form of golden chains made of Cosmo that surround the entire planet. And thus they stop the evil versions of Mu of Aries and Shaka of Virgo, who were trying to destroy the planet. With this, we already have an idea of how great Kiki's power could be when he finally becomes the Aries Saint in the classic saga. But in the canonical saga in Next Dimension, which takes place after the events of the Hades saga, Kiki simply doesn't appear. It's a disappearance that left many fans wondering. The story of this saga focuses on Saori Kato and the Bronze Saints traveling to the past, returning to the Holy War of the 18th century. Their goal is to find a way to destroy Hades' sword and save Pegasus Seiya, who is confined to a wheelchair in a vegetative state, with the curse of the sword of the Emperor of the Underworld embedded in his chest, slowly moving toward his heart. While all the temporal chaos unfolds, with Saori and her knights altering the very structure of the universe itself, Kiki remains in the 20th century. However, we don't know where Kiki would actually be or what he would be doing. Athena's actions in Next Dimension bring drastic consequences. The gods of Olympus do not forgive those who tamper with time. Saori's offense of meddling with the past and nearly destroying the universe draws the wrath of Olympus itself. And here we have the conclusion that leads us to the Heaven Saga. As punishment, Apollo, the sun god, who is one of the most powerful in the Greek pantheon, seals the fate of Athena and her warriors. He decrees the final punishment. Athena and her knights have their memories sealed by Apollo. They forget who they are, and they forget the holy wars, and they forget Cosmo and its power. They are forced to live as ordinary humans, disconnected from their heroic past and destiny. With this, the official Heaven Saga began, not living a peaceful life, alongside his blind sister, unaware of everything that happened in the past. Saori walks through the ruins of the sanctuary and is the first to awaken parts of her memory and Cosmo after visiting the house of Sagittarius. However, the goddess has no control over this, and so her memories and power appear and disappear all the time. Andromeda Shun, who is also living near the sanctuary, works as a flower vendor and helps an old farmer. The world seems to be at peace. However, the goddess Kara enters the scene. She was shown years ago in the special chapters of the manga, created directly by Masami Kurumada. Kara is the goddess of violent fate and misfortune, the younger sister of Thanatos and Hypnos. She is a servant of the underworld who acts from the shadows, manipulating tragedies. It was she who sent the evil spirit Lemur, who possessed the Gemini saga in the past, causing the entire sanctuary rebellion. Kira is sneaky, cruel, and extremely vengeful. And taking advantage of Athena and her knights' vulnerability and memory loss, Kira commands a battalion of remaining specters, whose surpluses were not destroyed in the fall of the underworld, ordering a cowardly attack against Saori. She wants to finish the job that her lord Hades couldn't. The specters attack mercilessly, and Saori finds herself in a situation of mortal danger. However, she is saved by Seiya and Shun, who had already met her before. Even with his mind erased by Apollo, the soul of Pegasus Seiya remembers his duty. The instinct to protect, engraved in his body and spirit, speaks louder, and on this occasion, Seiya awakens his Cosmo once again. It's a thrilling scene that makes a big reference to one of the first scenes of the anime, the one where the sanctuary soldiers burn their hands when holding Seiya's body in the first episode. And in the Heaven Saga, the specters who hold Seiya burn their hands when they come into contact with Pegasus's Cosmo. Seiya manages to defeat the enemies, thus saving Saori alongside Shun. And after that, the residual cosmos of Aiolos of Sagittarius speaks to Seiya and tells him that he is the legendary Pegasus Saint. However, after the most powerful specter appears, Seiya's power was no longer enough. And with that, Saori starts having memory lapses and fluctuations in her Cosmo. Regaining fragments of her power, she defeats the specter and decides to protect her saints at any cost. With that, Seiya and Shun lose consciousness after coming into contact with the goddess's Cosmo. She doesn't want to see her saints suffering again, so she prefers that they continue living ordinary lives. Now Saori faces the goddess Kur alone, moving the battlefield to the mysterious earthly Elysian fields. This is a sacred place in Greece where flowers have bloomed for 200 years after receiving the Cosmo of Athena and Hades' past host. With Athena fighting alone in the Heaven Saga and the Bronze Saints slowly regaining their memories and powers, a new problem arises. The power of the enemies that will appear after the fall of the goddess Kur is on the scale of the Olympian gods. And even after regaining their memories and powers, Seiya, Shun, Shiryu, Yoga, and Ikki cannot fight against Olympus with their broken bronze cloths. Furthermore, 5 of the 12 gold cloths, which are the ultimate symbol of hope, were pulverized by Thanatos in the Hades saga. The sanctuary has lost almost all of its saints. And on top of all that, most of the most powerful cloths are completely destroyed and gone. But, my friends, it is exactly at this moment of absolute despair that the young Ikki becomes the most important piece in the Heaven Saga. He is the only survivor of Jamiel, the last living heir of the Lemurians, who holds the secret and the sacred tools needed to restore the sacred cloths. These are the tools and abilities passed down from generation to generation, the same ones that were used by Xion and Mu in the past. And now they are under the care of the young Ikki. All the knowledge from ages past to Xion and from Xion to Mu now rests on the shoulders of this young apprentice. The battle against Olympus is Ikki's reason to improve his skills and thus rebuild the 5 gold cloths that will be used by Seiya and his friends. But to accomplish this feat, Ikki must have trained tirelessly after the events of the Hades Saga. And with that, the young Lemurian would have been able to develop his Cosmo and abilities, officially becoming the Sanctuary's armor restorer after the death of his master Mu. Many might believe that Ikki is too young and therefore couldn't have such a powerful Cosmo, either to become a gold saint or to become an armor restorer. But many of you may have forgotten that Mu of Aries was already a gold saint when he was only 7 years old. Therefore, Ikki in the Heaven Saga is about 9 or 10 years old and would already be capable enough for these roles if he has awakened the 7th sense during his training. And the time Ikki spent away from the story would also be enough reason for him to return with an older appearance. This would be the perfect reason for Masami Kurumada to add this character to the plot, making him responsible for carrying out the grand mission of restoring the gold cloths. Ikki's presence as the new Aries saint in the Heaven Saga would also end the final saga with an even bigger role for this character, who is very beloved by all fans of Knights of the Zodiac. But what about you? What do you think about all this? Should Ikki really reappear in the canonical saga as the new Aries Gold Saint? Or will he return only as the new restorer of the Sanctuary's cloths? Leave a comment so I can know, of course. Thanks for watching to the end. See you next time. May your infinite Cosmo burn.